Okay, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm back into the presentation here, and one of the challenges that we find all the time is that analytics are kind of hard to sell. They're hard to talk about because people aren't really sure what you're talking about. If I say analytics, I mean something different than IBM means, and they mean something different than AWS means. And it's a word that everybody in the industry has heard at trade shows. They've heard it from Bosch. They've heard it from our competitors. They've heard it from the installers, but nobody really has agreed on a definition. So what I've found in a number of years of selling this product and this technology is it's easier just not to mention it, at least not at first. What we like to do instead is talk about this concept that I call the perfect witness. You don't have to use my goofy terms, but the concept is the same. The concept is simple. If you were here watching your business from the vantage point that this camera has, what notes would you take? You're going to sit there with a notepad and you're going to write down what happens. What would you write down? It's really, you get some really interesting answers to this question. First of all, it depends on who you ask. An operations person, for example, in a retail store, is going to tell you very different things than the loss prevention person or the merchandising person. So it's really important that you ask all of them, because that's going to give us a more comprehensive set of notes, what this customer would like to know. It's important to remember that our customers know their businesses better than we ever will. So we might be able to pick out the obvious things that they want to know about. Somebody's walking out the door with product, or these two cars ran into each other, or there's a jaywalker. But they're going to understand some nuances of their business or facilities or whatever it is that they're responsible for that we won't understand. And it's really important that we ask this question of them so that we can get a handle on those nuances. Like I said, engage multiple stakeholders. And last but not least, pay attention to the items that are not safety and security related. So I find very often, if I can get 5 responses from a potential customer or group of stakeholders within a company, that 2 or 3 of them don't have anything to do with safety or security. And that's a really important thing, because the safety and security stuff, of course, we have to be prepared for. And that's usually our reason for being there. However, we hope those things either happen really seldom or not at all. Whereas operational things that happen every day or even every hour, that we can help gain insight to what's going on in this facility, is going to help us pay for the system. It's going to help us create a more immediate ROI for making the investments in the technology that are required to get there. So really key into those non-security responses to, hey, if you were here watching your business, what notes would you take? Once you've done that, I like to steal from the TSA. I know that's not the most common group of folks to steal a catchphrase from, but they've got a really great one. If you see something, say something. We've all seen it at the airport. Well, now we've got these cameras out there and they see all kinds of things. They're collecting all sorts of information. We've got that metadata stream. We're taking the notes. But that is pretty much useless if we just collect data for data's sake. What we want to do instead is find the data that's relevant and then say something about it. You have to close the loop. You have to do that step 2, or else we're kind of, it's an exercise in futility. So some additional questions. Now that I have those notes, who should get them? Obviously, it depends on the note. This note might go to this person, but that note goes to that person. How do they want to see it? Is this something that shows up in the user interface on their video management system? Is this something that they need in a push notification or a text message? Is this something that gets announced over a public address system or a 2-way radio system? It's even important to ask, when do they want it? It's easy to assume that if we took the note that they want it right away, but that's not necessarily the case. Let's take the example of traffic count information in a retail environment. Knowing the count at any particular time from one particular store is not an especially relevant data point. However, the merchandising manager may find very well that a dashboard every Monday morning that recaps the traffic from the previous week by store, that is very relevant once it's aggregated. So don't assume that these notes are always going to be handed out and shared live. They may be used forensically. So once we have all that, this is the reason why we say, don't worry about analytics. Don't talk about analytics. Because once you've had this conversation with the customer, that's when you come talk to us. Come visit Bosch, and we will help you translate your notes into technology. That technology might be analytics. It might not. It might not even be Bosch. But the point is, we want to find a solution. We want to find a way to capture the information that our customers told us is important to them. Most customers don't care how you get that information. They only care that you got that information. Now, of course, if they would like to see how the sausage is made and get into the weeds about the exact technology behind that solution, we're happy to get into that and share that with them. The important part is to grab it and execute.